What's up? It's your man Carcino here on the ones and twos. You know what to do. I tell you what, I don't know what's going on with YouTube and why they keep knocking off my live streams, even on this movie thing. I'm like, well, I could do it here on the movie. Nope, can't do it. So all my live streaming will not be using YouTube's platform. I'll be using StreamYard or any whichever way we need to do it. Now, let's get to this. Tried to do 2 and 3 before. Now I'm going to do it this way. Now, let's start off with the variance. Because, first of all, that music is just incredible for Loki. I mean, that's got to be Marvel's best music score ever. I mean, ever. It'll blow you away, especially with big stereo sound and everything else. Man, it's incredible. Now, Loki is learning his position, and he's learning for the first time as Morbius is telling him, his mission and what he's there for. You can see him starts off in training. He's been reading and learning and actually becoming like one of them. And as he's going through this process, he's really had time to look over his life. He just saw everything go down, and it just was like, wow, like massive the way it was transpiring. And he saw where his life ended up. Like, man, why would I want to go back to that? Like, why do I need to go back to doing that where this is gonna be, my life ends up having no purpose whatsoever. So this is the situation. This is the avenue or the way it went around. This was the way it was going to always be. As far as this status quo with Loki. He's trying to see if his manipulation that he always used, he could use on them and possibly buy time, because he had no idea what he was doing when he first got out in the field. He was just seeing what if there was anything he could do, well, he could manipulate them to eventually possibly escape, use his magic, get out of the into the field and just, go about his way. But he could be tracked. So he knows that they can basically find him whenever they need to find him. And they seem to know a lot more than him. So he doesn't quite know the game yet, but he's learning. But then he kind of likes Morbius because Morbius is actually giving him a chance to redeem himself. Plus, he knows Loki needs him. Loki kind of needs him to get him his new life, give him a new path, and don't, just disintegrate him. So I'm wondering because now, since all of these things are put back into place, Loki actually disappearing with the Tesseract the way he did, he created a branch and where he doesn't go back to Asgard, which means Thor 2 doesn't take place. Well, that would be a thank God that didn't happen. But there's no Thor 2, and it means that there's also no other things that transpired. Like if there's no Thor 2, then there's no uh, like other cosmic events that took place. There's no Tesseract there. There's no Snap. There's no Thanos. Where is that stone? He can't get the glove, so it might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. It's a whole series of events that took place when he left. It created some big branches. So it's a lot of questions to be answered there. So they find out that this new Loki, who's out doing all these things that they're tracking, is actually a female. She has the power to jump from body to body. And Loki finally meets her, and he wants to meet her because he kind of wants to partner up with this other Loki and see is there anybody like him, and this other dimension Loki. And she's like, "Don't quit calling me that," like I'm not Loki. So at first I thought this was gonna play out like the movie The One with Jet Li and all that. Scratch that. That's you could throw that away. This is nothing like that. This is setting up everything in the Marvel Universe through Loki. Now, there's going to be so many timelines that they can't even fix and get them all back together. So many things are going to be created through all these branches that she was able to set at the end of the second one when that time bomb went off. That resets time. So now it's going to be branches going out everywhere. So this is going to hurt their ability to change anything anymore. So this is going to cripple their whole organization. Loki follows behind her as she goes through a time door, and that is the end of part two. Part three, this is where everything slows down a little bit, and they become like almost like the odd couple. They're fighting each other when it's senseless to fight. It's like, look, Loki has something you need, as they find themselves into a place that they don't even know. Loki didn't know where. He just hit the button to get them out of there to save them. And while they were doing that, they've discovered something. They're on a planet that's set to be um, an apocalyptic event's going to happen and destroy the planet. And that's how they're basically hiding their prince. I forgot to mention that in the second. Loki stumbles on how that person was able, how the other Loki was able to hide their identity. So to catch a Loki, you need a Loki. So Loki knows how she thinks and said it was what he would have done. And he's like, that's actually genius. Like if I did something on Asgard, go back there, did all these things, right? Normally it would spike and make some attention where they would know this would mess up cosmic events. But it doesn't show up because if a big apocalyptic thing happens, boom, thousands are wiped out and Asgard is destroyed. And once it's destroyed, everything that he did was erased. So they would go back to whenever there was an apocalyptic event, you can just go there and hide out until the event take place. So anything you do there, you can just keep going back to this time. You can just keep going back. Nothing will ever change. The apocalyptic event is going to happen, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. But it would never ever show up because it's all going to get wiped away anyway. It's like clipping the branches, like what Cap went back and did. So obviously, these things have taken a new plane flight, and going down a whole different type of world and lane. Now, let's get into it some more. This story plays out on this doomed planet that's set for destruction and to be exploded. He picked one of the worst ones there was because a moon is blowing up and is headed right towards them, and it's going to crush them and destroy them. Now, the only way they can get out, if they could fix this machine she got that can get them out of there, is damaged. And they were going there first. They had to charge it. The battery was low, so they couldn't get out of there. So both Loki and the new female Loki had to work together in order to get on there. Now, Loki don't know how she's able to manipulate minds and jump into people's bodies and control their thoughts and all these different things just by touching them. And she can actually have the other person she's controlling touch someone else. Like she says, people with strong minds is different. She has to actually use thoughts in their brain to try to convince them to give them information because it takes longer. She has to actually do it herself, physically touch them. But people with weak minds, all it takes is a slight touch, and she's gotten control over them. So I thought it was interesting that they both know magic, but they each don't know how to do what the other one can do. Like Loki can change identities, and different things with his magic. He's more hiding things with his magic. She's not as equipped at that with her magic. So I like the fact that they did this. But the movie slows down for this back and forth, like who are you learning each other, Ozzy and Harriet type thing that they got going. So as they're stranded, though, you kind of find out one thing about them is that when she gave up details, that she finds out that the timekeepers are all human, like they're variants and don't know it. They think that they were created by the time gods. So now they're like, oh, wait a minute. They don't know it. Like one of the girls, she's like, no, she's from Earth. And he's like, wow, look, they don't know this. This is like good information to use because they've been manipulated. So now Loki knows this. Like they've all been manipulated. And they believe they've been there for thousands and thousands of years. And they really haven't. So the timekeepers or the time gods are probably the ones that are controlling their minds. Now, will there be other Lokis we run into during this series? Now, we did learn that they're not going to, Disney has no plans, Marvel, Disney have no plans to put out the Loki and WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldiers. Like, none of these are going to DVD. They're just going to be on the streaming platform. Disney Plus wants it to remain on Disney Plus. If you buy it, then why would you go to Disney Plus? So they was like, nope, no DVDs. Streaming only forever. So that was that. So I'm gonna get out of here. The episode ends with them trying to get off this planet. Now they have to get into a spaceship for them to get off and some type of shuttle. And they trying to go there. The shuttle is destroyed, and she just walks away. And they're still stranded on this planet. And the thing is I think Loki still has the original. I don't think it's broken. Just knowing Loki, he's always got something up his sleeve. So we'll see what happens in the next one, or probably the next trailer, whenever that's released. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, like the page, and we'll be back for episode 4.